Hey everybody, this is Rydo, and today we're looking at Prey, which seems to, for some reason, love to pop up the Steam overlay and has some weird wonky controls, to say the least, at the beginning. Anyways, this is a 2017 sci-fi first-person shooter, and frankly saying any more would spoil the small revelations as you play. I've been spoiled a little bit on this game, but I haven't played it all myself. But the general conceit, I think, was spoiled even through trailers. What's weird about this game is that at some point they added Steam controller support, and by default it's enabled, and that breaks just your standard Xbox Core controller support. So I had to muddle through this awful menu with keyboard prompts to figure out how to turn on controller support. And since I don't do the WASD too often, or almost never do I play with a keyboard WASD, like it was quite the struggle, whereas every other game, particularly a game this new, like 2017, is not that old, they would have just detected input from a controller and switched to that input. And honestly, I don't think there's really a reason why Steam Deck controllers should break any other input, whether it's a PlayStation controller or a Microsoft controller. I could see third-party controllers maybe having some trouble, but yeah, that is weird. I've decided to turn up the subtitles to all dialogue, which may make the game a little bit easier than it really should be, instead of just main dialogue. I can't really bring up the keyboard prompts, but it is a nightmare on this screen. Like, the left bump at the top was like tab left and then tab right, and then the right trigger said page left and page right. I don't even have a page left and page right on my keyboard. I think if you were going to go a page right or left, you'd have to probably hit something like Control Alt Tab or Control Alt Shift Tab. And like, I have a full keyboard. It's not missing keys. So eventually what I found is you had to actually use the Q and E to the left and right of WASD to get into these subsections. But yeah, you have to come over here and just disable this using a keyboard before you can do anything, and it's really just a mess. And then by default, it didn't get custom specs, but it said I should be on high video settings, and it got my correct monitor, since I have 3 monitors, and the correct resolution, so I'm not going to complain about any of that. Then NVIDIA's GeForce Experience optimized the graphics a little bit more, I believe, so now it is on custom settings. Although I do kind of question whether there's adaptive resolution first person or frames per second. Yeah, not first person shooter, frames per second target should be at 30, but it's probably fine because it's also turned off. Like, ideally I would want to target 60, or not have adaptive resolution at all. Mostly you just probably don't want it on at all, because that is a system that, even with my computer, may not really work all the time. The idea of lowering the resolution to maintain a frame rate is probably trying to fix a problem by creating more problems in a lot of scenarios. I'm going to test having the volume at 75% for everything. It was at 100%. You can hear in the menu here that the audio comes up and comes down quite a bit as far as its loudness. And so I'm not certain whether 75% may be too much or too little until I really get into the game. Which, in all fairness, a lot of those settings, you just are not sure until you actually get into the game. They eventually removed de novo from this game. Before that point, there was some major stuttering and just poor performance in general in Prey. After they got out of that first 6 weeks to 6 months launch window, they removed de novo. They eventually added a new game plus, which wasn't there. Both things that really should have been done at launch. Games really should have new game plus, because there are going to be people that play games really, really fast and may want to play it a second time. I can kind of excuse new game plus coming later, but it's not really that difficult to program, in my opinion, as an outsider looking in who hasn't actually programmed the video game. And then they added Moon Crash, which is DLC that's just its own executable and basically a completely different story and in a completely different game, completely different type of game, I even think, as compared to the first game. So at the top it says new modes available. Challenge yourself with new survival features such as traumas and weapon degradation. Man, I'm not reading well today. Or play in story mode, which reduces combat difficulty. You can focus on the narrative. Survival options can also be enabled in a new game. So once again, the games like this that add features later really confuse which way you really should play it, and you just would not know per se which is the right way to play until you start playing. So it says the survival mode options are not recommended for inexperienced players, so you just kind of have to take that. Weapons wear down from use in environmental hazards. If not repaired, they will jam periodically. Adds new trauma statuses to the game, such as bone fracture, concussion, hemorrhage, and third-degree burns. Suit damage causes air links to your suit, limiting your air supply in environments with no atmosphere, such as a station exterior. Okay. So there's easy, then there's story mode. In story mode, it says uncover the secrets of Talos I. Survival is all but guaranteed. Survival won't be a problem for you, probably. Use your wits and abilities. Your wits are the only thing to keep you alive. Nothing can save you. So there are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 different options here, it seems. I think we just go with normal. Hopefully you could potentially change that, or at the very least we would find that we can change it fairly quickly. This is one of those Bioshock-like games where half of its praise came from its story and half of its praise came from its gameplay. I'm not even sure it really was a half and half. I think a lot of people liked the gameplay and the gimmick around the gameplay mechanic, but I think probably closer to 55 or 60% of players preferred the story better. And there's obviously a lot you could spoil yourself on. Even this main menu with its glitching visuals is implying something that it probably shouldn't. It's also interesting that there is an AMD Ryzen logo on the front of this game as you launch it. I do have an AMD Ryzen CPU, and you just don't see that logo very often. So if anything, I guess my computer might run this a little bit better, although I imagine it's not that difficult either way. Alright, I just hit the A button, and it didn't do anything because I have to highlight continue first. So in 2017, this was definitely a point where where they were starting to really promote games where you could select different genders. See how the eyes are blinking red there? That's a bit of a spoiler too. Of course, it's a first-person game, so you're not going to even see like the back of the head of your character that you play as, and so it doesn't really matter that much. Inherently, anytime there's either a complaint that a game nowadays gives too many options or not enough options as far as customizing your characters, which I've seen complaints on both sides. That the arguments always seem to fall particularly flat, in the sense that you're almost never really looking at your character anyways. So my general default is to play as a female character. That'll get us possibly a female voice actor. Inherently, that is the thing that would ruin your budget if you hired both a male voice actor for the main character and a female voice actor for the main character, if they're saying a lot of lines of dialogue. Even as of now, playing this in 2023, I've never seen any statistics that said video games sell on the same level if you only have a female protagonist. There definitely, in decades previous, have been surveys, perhaps poorly run surveys, that have shown that male players just were not willing to play as male characters. But I kind of feel like that was from generations gone by as far as gamers. I did see a statistic that says in, I think, Roblox, if you run into a female character, there's a 60% chance of it being a male, which, yeah, okay, fair enough. It probably should be closer to 50-50. The bigger thing, though, is that we have certainly had a lot of culture push, particularly amongst a certain group of political leaning people inside game development, to even take this concept, which was once sold as a great thing, that we can let people choose their gender between male and female. Now, this in 2023, like less than 10 years later, this would be unacceptable and cause to complain about a game, is to say, well, this is the male standard, cisgendered standard, and this is the female cisgendered standard. This is not inclusive enough for a certain group of game developers and advocates who have the ear of game developers. They would want potentially for you to look like this character and be able to claim any number of pronouns, or look at like this character and claim as many pronouns, or even go further and have even more characters. And some of the reactions to that have been very pandery, in which they've just removed the word male and female, and in some modern games this would just be body type A and body type B, which that doesn't really satisfy anybody anyways. Let's start with the female character. Now entering your apartment, you wake up in your apartment in 2032. That was probably way too much setup to get into this game. So yeah, you really can't win for trying. And here we have a cursor popping up, where this does kind of feel more like what a Steam Deck would do, is to have a cursor moving around with the left control stick, left analog stick, or the left touchpad on a Steam Deck controller.
Good morning, Morgan. Today is Monday, March 15th, 2032.
This was a very pretty game for the time it was released, and honestly probably looks pretty great even now.
Hey, Morgan, wake up. You're burning daylight. We sent a helicopter to pick you up. It's just a few tests. Don't forget to wear your suit. See you soon.
And so that was Alex U.
Really great you decided to come on board. We're gonna shake things up, Morgan. Like old times.
So you would have to assume that either Alex U is related to you in some way, or U is just a really common name. First day on the job, put on your suit. So this runs in Crisis, but Honestly, I don't know what a modern version of Crysis, how different that would really be compared to, say, the Unreal Engine or even a well-programmed Unity engine. Speech synthesis and natural language generation. So there are books we can pick up and read. There's a circuit board that we can collect. So we're just immediately picking up collectibles. Can't really pick up screwdrivers. We can pick up and drop things at specific places. And we can throw things. We can climb on things. Her name is Morgan. Or his name is Morgan. And I would have to assume you would have slightly different things in this. Can we zoom in with any button? Doesn't seem like it. Yeah, I have to assume that there wouldn't be a purse here or fancy higher heeled shoes if you played as the male character, but I imagine that's close to the only things that are different. Neuromod application instructions. Remove Neuromod from vacuum sealed container. Press rubberized eye cup firmly against bony orbit of eye socket. Keep eye open. Depress orange release trigger and continue to hold Neuromod against the eye for 5 minutes. Man, 5 minutes? Dispose of used Neuromods and provided biohazard bad. So basically what that's going to do is Neuromods, we're going to see them fairly quickly. It's going to inject needles in your eye. Holding Y brings up a inventory. Tapping Y searches. Interesting. And I guess Morgan is a electrician of some sort. Hands-on electronics. Let's see. Yep, you can climb on desks. Which this is very video gamey to be doing all of this. Let's see. And I'm gonna immediately start to say, like, pause now and read for a lot of this stuff. Because even though this really is only 2 or 3 sentences, having it all in one place does seem a little extreme. You have all kinds of interesting art and then just piping in this apartment loft. Pause now and read. And it definitely seems like you have a lot of opportunity to buy things. There's a lot of, or pick up things. There's a lot of 3D models we're seeing here for objects. And later in the game, that kind of plays a big role. But I kind of question whether these kinds of cups and these kinds of spoons aren't somewhat... We would need leverage 3 to move this refrigerator, which... Interesting, I guess then you could only do that as far as the New Game Plus. And it seems very much the case that you don't need to go into a menu per se. It's just telling you what's in objects. There's a lot of sconce lights, a lot of light switches. Pause now if you want to read. It's weird, frankly, to have so many books lying around on so many different subjects in so many different places. Here's another purse. Like, it's almost as if you're constantly needing to remind yourself how to do basic activities, or as if you never knew in the first place. And I guess I'm probably looking somewhat here for achievements by turning lights on and off, or looking for secret objects. You have more necklaces. I can't help but assume bathroom scale right in front of a mirror. That's a interesting thought. Yeah, I just have to assume that this is decorated. This apartment is decorated fairly differently for a male character, because what you don't want to give, and what we're not seeing here for the female character, is any impression that anyone else lives here. Pause now if you want to read this. You does seem like she's Asian. The Alex Yu character, I think, is fairly visually unique too, in that he is depicted as a fairly fat guy. You tend not to get fat guys in video games. We can't zoom in again, like, to look better at this picture, but you can see that there seems to be a group of 4 people. Then we have this lovely, looks like on Earth view, which I half expected to be just a monitor and not real. Weirdly, you have your whole uniform here, right on the exterior door. That's a weird place to have a coat hanger, but maybe not the worst idea. You don't have a peephole per se, and this is either a thermostat and a call box, like a way to communicate with people on the outside, or just a thermostat. Well, let's go outside and see if this is real. Doesn't it says the door is jammed. Interesting. And I wonder if it breaks something in the store if you could walk outside because the door is jammed. I mean, clearly if you can take apart electronics and fix things, you could probably take this soldering iron and some other tools and unjam a door. Okay, we already know what our keyboard is. F paradox. Right. TranStar employee workstations often contain information files and utilities. Press the start to view more. So these are like tutorial prompts, and we will be dealing with this more often, I think. No files or utilities this time, just emails. So this is probably somewhat important stuff, so let's actually read it. From Thomas Tucker to Morgan Webb. Morgan Yu, not Morgan Webb. Hey, hello Morgan. So glad to hear you're coming aboard soon. Your first official workday is Monday, March 15th, but we'll have a series of training exercises we run with all new employees. Just some stuff to clear for you for life in orbit. Exciting times ahead. Have a good flight and I'll see you soon. Thomas Tech or Human Resources at the Talos I research facility. So very basic stuff there. Don't jump, hit X. Hey, I sent a package with everything you need for your first day. Uniform, transcribe, and neuromod. Install the neuromod right away as we'll be running some tests first thing in the morning. Just follow the instructions. I'll be in touch. And that's Alex U. Really? Hey, I just got off the phone with Mom and Dad, and they won't be there when the shuttle departs. They're in New York. This is from Alex U. So Alex U is your brother. Because you really wouldn't refer to your mom and dad as mom and dad when you're talking to someone else. So, yeah, I'm not sure I really see the resemblance, but whatever. They won't be there when the shuttle departs. They're in New York, company stuff, but they send their best. I think Mom's a little disturbed that both of her children are going to be outside her gravitational pull for some time. She said you better behave and do everything your big brother says. Okay, actually, she said the opposite. I'm supposed to behave and do what you tell me. So there you go, that's Mom. Anyway, everyone's excited about your ideas up there, so get ready. They'll probably call you in the morning to make sure you're up. See you very, very soon, Morgan. Alex. Interesting. You don't have... B is also crouching, apparently. You don't have a lot of brother and sister relationships in video games. I don't know if that's because there isn't a lot of call for it, or if video game developers and writers are just not particularly creative. Yeah, I couldn't immediately off the top of my head think of a good reason why you would go with a brother and sister relationship when romantic relationships just feel like they have more drama around it in any scenario. And so there you go. Hey, let's just pretend like we're showering. Notice we're not showing up in any of the reflections. Also, not showing up here in this reflection either. So let's put on the suit. I can't help but wonder if the arms are exactly the same regardless of whether you picked a male or female character. The arms and the hands. It doesn't seem like it's going to matter much, because now that you're in the suit, the shoes are probably exactly the same or very similar. The gloves are the same. So, yeah. There isn't much to that. Did I get the neuromod? Or is it in my inventory, or what? Sync is turned on and seems to stay on for its own amount of time. Here we can see if that unjams the door. And they want us to go to the helicopter. And it doesn't seem like you can pick things up, but you can. Nope. Like, it doesn't seem to me like there's anything. No Psi-Hypnos. I just apparently ate something, which gave me a full status. No med kits. No suit patch kits. So every left bump and left trigger does something. Okay. Well then, let's turn off the light. Seems like the TV itself has no on and off state, which almost certainly in modern times a smart frame, smart TV probably will just always be on. Never turn off. So out the door we go. It does seem weird that there would be no people. It does seem weird that you don't lock things. I guess maybe the future is particularly safe. You can't open other people's doors that are locked. Looks like we're going to run into a different person. A named person, Patricia. Let's talk to Patricia.
Heard there's a chopper on the roof. Must be for you.
Patricia Varma.
You'll have to take the elevator. Down the hall. But you know that, I guess.
There's apparently steam fittings, or steam pipes.
These things can be tricky, you know?
Inside this futuristic looking apartment, which, I mean, that's somewhat believable that you might retrofit an old New York building and still have steam pipe fittings. Although it's questionable whether you should have steam as a technology. At a certain level, it kind of does make sense. Steam really only exists in, like, New York City. But it probably wouldn't be terrible if every city had electricity lines, gas lines, internet lines, and steam lines, just to have as much diversity of different services that you can have. Particularly when you're looking for heat, electricity and gas and steam gives you 3 options instead of 2. They say water pressure issue has been identified. I guess maybe they're implying that this is water pressure, but then why are you getting little vents of steam? Plus this is like more of a pressure regulated to clamp down pressure, not increase it. Water pressure issues in particular, more for tall buildings, are about pumping the water to a water tank at the top and then using gravity as a free resource to maintain the pressure. That's why we have water towers in the first place. Press A to jump, left trigger to sprint, B to crouch. So they're giving us tutorials on a lot of different things. More pipes, ruining the beauty of the hallway. And what was the name of this? Echelon Residential Tower. This is a weird hallway in the sense that it's really not connecting to enough rooms to make sense. And unless there's some kind of secret fire emergency panel or door here, it would make a lot more sense that this was a fire escape, and yet it's locked. And interestingly, not even the same kind of door. It's not as decorated and doesn't have a handle on it. You'd also expect that there would be probably a closet of some sort for like a broom. Already on our floor, it knows who you are, so maybe that's the security aspect to it. And we're flying via helicopter, which to an orbiting platform, which I guess is a little weird that you would assume it would be a helicopter, but not super crazy. Here you have yet another different type of door and some black scuff marks on the wall, which is not particularly good. Again, just a really weird hallway to have when, yeah, you have to assume that this is once again a locked fire escape and then one other door. I seriously doubt the game would say you forgot to install the neuromod, so we must just do that later. Even for a 2017 game, though, I'm not particularly impressed by this helicopter. We're not going to see it much. We're going to get into space, and then a lot of these more boxy, Earth-like things I imagine will just not show up at all. So, there definitely is an argument that you should have just started the game on a spacecraft flying towards the orbiting station or on the orbiting station, because yeah, this is a lot of modeling. It feels a lot like Mirror's Edge, which was not made by Arcane Studios, the makers of this game, but it definitely feels like they've created a city and a skybox with a nice looking sky for not really a good reason. So it's moored. Yeah, it's fancier on the inside, and it seems like it is flying itself.
Ms. Yu, please make yourself comfortable and we'll be on our way.
There's a pilot, you just don't see him.
TranStar facility is just a short hop. 78 degrees. Clear skies all the way.
To the right there it said Bethesda, as in the publisher or parent company of Arcane Studio. Also more notably known for making Skyrim and Fallout series. Although Arcane Studios, its own studio, so they, I don't think, have had any hand in this.
That's a nice view on the bay there.
Oh, am I supposed to be controlling where I'm looking? I guess I am. So we're getting the credits. They got too fancy here, for my own opinion. So I'm supposed to just be looking around, seeing the credits in the silhouettes of things. Although they're not really giving us a ton of credits here. There's a, I guess that's probably the Talos Station logo. I don't like the idea of having to control the camera and be my own film cameraman to see credits here.
Here we are, Ms. Yu. Mind the glass on the way out. Good luck to you.
Mind the glass, but don't mind the spinning blades all around you. All above you. Yep. So we can see the text "Prey" did disappear. At a certain level, you can't complain too much about a game being ambitious, but being ambitious with the credits like that, and then not taking control away from the player and just showing the credits, is kind of pointless. Yeah, you could have ignored the whole apartment section and started on the helicopter and then walked through here, and that would have eliminated a lot of the 3D modeling and level design for the apartment, which seems like we're never getting back to it. TranStar, I wonder if this is going to just teleport us to the station. But then you would have to kind of explain, why did you need to take a helicopter to be teleported to a teleportation station to then teleport to space?
Hello, Dr. Yu.
So this is a science operator.
I'm a Sybil 495 science class operator.
So this is some kind of jet-propelled flying device, which in zero gravity would probably make more sense than in gravity. Right.
Excuse me.
Last frontier of human mind, and we are the pioneers. William Yu. Interesting. So it seems like the U's are all involved in this quite a bit. Floor, rooftop, enter elevator. Let's go and just talk to this
It
guy.
won't be long before you're on a shuttle bound for Talos I.
TranStar has over a dozen state-of-the-art facilities across the globe. More, if you count the entire Earth-Moon system. My instruments are calibrated for high-volume data analysis and live readings. Don't worry, nothing will be missed.
Like, we just lost, like, all the echo in that dialogue.
Our research often requires intense focus and long hours. I can provide you with a psychoactive stimulant after the test, if necessary. Everyone's eager to see what you're capable of, Dr. Yu. I know I am. I'm sure your brother is waiting for you. All our labs meet the minimum. Strange. That's never happened before. I'll have to file a maintenance request. Please excuse me, Dr. Yu. The elevator will take you directly to the testing area.
So how many lines of dialogue are you going to potentially get from this guy? I guess that's it. That's a lot of dialogue that I imagine most players would have chosen to just ignore. Like, it's not really helping you.
Welcome, Morgan Yu.
Or telling you anything new.
9 a.m. appointment in the testing facility. Please confirm. Okay.
We'll confirm. We were on floor 100, now we're going down fairly quickly. I would assume this elevator is probably loading in more level. 71
Morgan,
testing facility.
Finally.
So he's not on the spaceship either. What's funny about this is I really don't see anything particularly Asian about Alex Yu here. Which either he was, I guess, maybe adopted, or maybe this is just a world where people adopt kids or have Chinese last names but aren't particularly that Chinese looking.
You don't look terrible in a TranStar uniform.
Interesting, it
How's
zoomed in.
Still red? I know the test might seem a little unconventional, but it's a Yu family tradition. Breaking convention is in our blood. Once you start the test, just do whatever comes natural. Don't overthink it. Dr. Bellamy's going to walk you through the process. You're in good hands.
We'll
be in
a slow process.
I promise.
Mr. Yu, they're ready for your sister in room A.
Right. Listen, just be yourself. I'll see you after.
The game basically zoomed me in to talk to him and started a cutscene, but didn't really take control away from me as a player. Pause now if you want to read this. I feel like I just never injected a neuromod, but whatever. And some more scientists are going to do some tests on us.
Good morning, Morgan.
It's funny how they just kind of react.
Looks like we have some tests to run through today.
Instead
Probably
of
not the kind of thing you're used to, I imagine, but
actually
you're going to do
requiring
fantastic.
you to press a button.
All good? Great. Let's begin. For this first test, I'd like you to remove the boxes from the red circle as quickly as you can. Just go with your gut. Okay? Wonderful. Press the red button when you're ready.
Okay. So, this feels very tutorial-y, and...
Whenever you're ready, Morgan.
Yep. Can't leave the room. Okay.
Wonderful. You're absolutely fine. Let's move on to room B then.
So that was perhaps a slightly more violent response compared to what you might have done. Like, I could see people also thinking, misunderstanding and putting the boxes on the blue circle. Yep.
Okay,
it weirdly just doesn't
carefully.
feel video game enough
like
that people that would just start talking to
room.
you.
Take your time, relax, think it over. No, I'm kidding. You only have 9 seconds. Hit the red button when you're ready to start.
Okay. Is it going to turn off the lights? Because your best bet to hide in this room. Let's see, if
Dr.
you
Yu,
stand here, he'll see you.
Morgan, we're ready.
Okay.
Look.
Is she? She's hiding behind the chair.
Any synaptic register at all? No? Well, that's fine. Sorry, let's keep things moving, Morgan. Head into room C. You're doing marvelous.
Now the problem here is if you know the spoilers and you're playing New Game Plus, it's very possible that there was a better way to hide in this room, but playing stupid and playing this for the first time, I mean, what else were you possibly going to do in this room? Like, try and crouch down behind this? At this point, I mean, there's nothing, no way to hide in this room for what I know. And they're kind of silly questions.
All right. Here we go. For this test, please press the blue button across the room as quickly as you can in the most natural, intuitive way possible, without thinking. Just go for it. Press the red button when you're ready.
The thing here is we were shown that we were a human being, and we assume natural human being abilities. And it feels like they're testing us to be...
I'm sorry, can someone please explain to me what's happening? Simmons?
I installed exactly what Tina brought down.
Did you double check?
Speaker's still on.
I apologize, Morgan. We're having some trouble with the equipment. Not your fault. You're doing fabulous, actually. One last room. Let's step into D.
Yeah, it's like they think you're somehow not human, or they're not expecting you to act in a normal human way, which, I mean, maybe there is just some level of technology that I'm not aware of, where we have like telekinesis and we can pick up objects or interact with objects from a distance away. But this is definitely weird, to say the least.
Can someone get me a cup of coffee? I would appreciate it.
Did we not install the neuromod? And
okay, Morgan,
that's the thing,
have a
is
seat at the table for me,
I should have
please.
had a neuromod installed. I may be accidentally getting a special ending here.
Wonderful job. Take a look at the screen in front of you. I'm going to show you a series of questions. Pick the answer that makes the most sense to you. Press start on the screen when you're ready.
Okay. Start with X. You're planning on a vacation going somewhere familiar you know
Whenever
you love,
you're
or
ready,
try
Morgan.
something new? Let's try something new.
Good. Looks like you've got the hang of it. Keep going.
You're sentenced to death for your actions. How does that make you feel? Afraid. I don't know what will happen. Angry. No one has that right. Calm. It was worth it. Let's go with afraid. We don't know if...
That's heavy stuff.
Runaway train is bearing down on 5 people who are tied to a track. You can cause the train to switch, but there's one person tied to the track. Well, switch tracks.
Good. Next.
A runaway train is bearing down on 5 people. You're standing on a platform next to an enormously fat man. Push him onto the track would stop the train. Push the fat man. I don't know if a fat man really would stop a train. A runaway train is bearing down on 5 people tied to a track. You could stop the train by jumping onto the track, but you would die. Push the fat man, not an option. Jump on the tracks. Inherently, they need to figure out who's tying all these people to train tracks. These are basic philosophy questions.
Impressed. Well done.
I'm just doing simple math in morals there. Just the number, if every life is considered equally valuable.
Take a good look at it.
What was that?
In a moment, I'm going to ask you what... Is my coffee? It's empty.
Oh my god! Security! Security!
I have no idea what that is. And apparently we've been gassed. 50 minutes to get to this point. I took my time, but really that should have happened a lot earlier.
Alex,
Simmons, what's going on?
we have a problem.
What about Morgan?
She's alive, sedated.
Clean it up. I'm on my way.
Good morning, Morgan. Today is Monday, March 15th, 2032.
This is the same day, they're saying. Starting over again. Now at this level, I almost wonder if they shouldn't force you into the other gender. That might be a bigger impact. Well, this feels like this is the same day, but maybe this isn't. Maybe it was the maybe this is, it was the 14th before. But it does definitely seem like we just collected everything before. Let's see if these emails are the same. Nope, that's 6 emails. Seems like most of this is the same, though. Things are in different places. And yeah, the books are in different places. Seems like there's a rice cooker now. Of course, the problem now is you just don't know how many times you might go through this loop. Yep. Or if you need to read every single book twice. Or whether this is just a waste of time. I feel like there was something here before. I'm just gonna turn everything on and leave it on. We didn't flush the toilet before. And are we still jammed on the door? Yes, we are. So let's see what the emails say now. Danger, leave now. Danger, leave now. Danger, leave now. EOM. 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 This is from January. Whoever January is. Okay. We're getting weird sound effects, certainly. I still don't feel like I found a neuromod. If I was supposed to do a neuromod. Yep. If I was supposed to find anything. Now the lights are out. And things are all broken. And we can toggle a flashlight. Let's go take this wrench. So now we have a wrench.
Hello, Morgan. It's time we spoke. My code name is January. You're not dreaming. What happened yesterday was real. If you want to know what's going on, first you need to get out of your apartment building. You're not safe.
So poor Patricia has been killed, and it can carry her body, but is really just dragging it. The hallway stops here. You have a minimum amount of stamina, it seems. I don't think we're going to be able to break doors, and so I'm confused as to where we're supposed to go. That was interesting. Let's see if we can free the fishy. It was a fake fishy. I didn't really expect that. I just was wondering what would happen.
Good. You're in the simulation lab. Now get to the exit. I'll keep in contact.
Interesting twist. Late twist. Certainly. At this point I would probably want to find a nice place where I could just save and end the episode here. What this inherently reveals, though, is that there's definitely some twists that I thought were fairly late to the game are kind of being revealed even now. So even the piping and all of that is just fake. Although I don't know how they were getting steam through unconnected pipes. These are just the paintings in your apartment. Something just jumped in front of me, and my natural instinct was to swing. Maybe that was a mistake. So this looks directly into your apartment too. Soundstage rules. I guess pause now if you want to. Pause now if you want to read any of this. There is actual water leaking here. I guess that's just broken glass. Apparently they're not looking at you in the bathroom. So a slight question definitely would come about as far as just whether or not you ever had a real apartment or if it was always just a simulation. And we're getting an understanding in general as far as what level of technology exists in this world, or at least the level of technology they're pretending to exist. Alright. Okay. Is this thing going to attack me? Or can I just leave it alone and it will leave me alone? Like, I don't really know this world. For all I know, that's just the equivalent of a pet dog in this world. Just some beloved animal, although I would assume you wouldn't have question mark over it. And so the whole thing is just a simulation as far as the helicopter sequence, which, yeah, that's weird. And that's the testing area, so you never really got out of the testing area. Interesting that it's just popped up a tutorial here. The Hephaestus Hefty Twist and Loop Handle Ridge is the standard for all maintenance personnel in the TranStar facility, good for liberal application of progressive maintenance and mechanical agitation. Use the right trigger to swing your wrench. Important. Press and hold to charge your attack for maximum damages. All wrench attacks will drain your stamina. Thanks for telling me. Did you need to tell me at that point? Emergency phone? Can't knock that off. And so I mean, so there's just like a secret door here. Necropsy required to take the tumor. Interesting. Floor 54 upside down. And yeah. So a lot of upper area stuff too. So secret exit this way to the fake helicopter, right? I can't help but think that some of this definitely would require some major drug influence that you would fall for this. I assume each of these glasses, which apparently you can just walk through once they're broken, can't walk through them when they're not broken. I'd assume each one of those simulated the intro sequence. Explosive canisters, your red barrels. And here's the elevator. Pretending like you're going up and down when it really wasn't. So it's just like the exact same room. It's just that there was a wall here before and the wall moved back. Some glass is not breakable. Let's go ahead and take a med kit. Seems like we'll probably need it. What two utilities do we have? Scene selection, rooftop entrance, testing facility. Test management. Reset the test rooms for the current configuration. Testing rooms affected ABC. So let's go ahead and reset that. See what that does. Testing room A. I think we had another character show up.
Cacoplasmus. Everyone calls them mimics. Be careful what you pick up.
So this whole time, I've been picking up objects like crazy, when I probably should be smashing things. Although you really couldn't. Yeah. I don't think we could do this test again. I mean, I guess we could. Yeah, if anything, this is potentially a game concept where, let's see, in this morning incidents left people shaken. To prevent unnecessary panic, police refrain from contacting people outside of your department. A statewide announcement will be made shortly. In the meantime, Ms. Elzar and the security team are on high alert and will field any requests you have. I know some of you are worried about Dr. Bellamy. He's currently being treated in the trauma center in a critical, stable condition. Thank you for your patience and dedication to the project. Alex Yu. Morgan's behavior. Alex has requested all orders go through him after Morgan's outburst at the debrief, pending a psych evaluation. Alex has indicated he doesn't want any more surprises from Morgan, nor do we. Granted, Morgan had forgotten everything from the last test as expected, but the aggressive response to the same set of test criteria was clearly a departure. My recommendation is we need to start charting personality drifts from before future tests, in debriefings and within the test itself. Bellamy. So apparently, at some point I had a violent outburst. As I'm smashing a cup. Let's see. There's an email here we didn't read. Yeah, that's the same email. Okay. So inherently, this game is going to push you towards the idea of it's going to push you towards the idea of doing the exact opposite of what you would normally do in a video game, which is trying to pick up and collect every single item available. Although you can note there's a lot of stuff around here that you can't pick up or search. Let's see what this says.
Alex. Simmons, what's going on?
We have a problem.
What about Morgan?
She's alive, sedated.
Clean it up. I'm on my way.
And like we see this ink blot, and this test was not reset, so we can't answer the questions a second time. And I guess the question really would have come down to, what is past room D, if anything? Because I'm not sure there is anything past room D. And I guess this is where the mimic burst through and attacked everybody, and everybody seems to be just gone now. Stage B, control room, skill recorder, exit to lobby. And we now are saying either blood or rust. That would be quite a lot of blood. So at this point, it definitely doesn't feel like I'm related to Alex Yu, which might account for the appearance. In fact, it might literally just be part of their manipulation and testing of you, is that are you a normal human who would potentially recognize the fact that Alex Yu does not look particularly Asian. I just for the fun of it, let's see if we can do this. Okay. That didn't get any achievement or anything, but why not jump on a bed? The safe code is non-local superliminal. The safe code is something 631. Where's the safe? There's some weirdness in this room that I missed. Let's see. Marking the entire SKU as defective, investigated with fabrication. Okay, we've got a safe here. No password found for Marco Simmons. Password IKOP 0876. Easy password there. Let's see. Password protection. Do not share your password with anyone. Passwords are sensitive, confidential. Passwords must not be inserted in the email, transcribed conversations, or other forms of communications. Do not write down passwords and store them anywhere in your office. If you suspect your password has been compromised, report it immediately. Let's go. And then we've already seen this message. The test results were all negative. Did you install the correct neuromods? Touch base with Graves and figure out what went wrong. This should be the absolute highest priority. So I wonder if maybe the neuromods are the thing that they're testing here, is that they're putting in different neuromods and like brainwashing you. Although, why overly complicate something when it might be as something as simple as you are one of the mimics that we've already seen. Let's see. Debriefing safe. Would I have a way of bringing up the password? You can now zoom in, but kind of would have a hard time guessing what this is. Let's see, is there a year on this diploma? Not that I can read. A lot of monitors we can't turn on either. This definitely doesn't look like a chair I'd want to sit down on. Again, it feels like maybe some New Game Plus stuff would happen. Let's just go with 0861. See, and I just don't think you would have had the wrench available to you before this point. So I just don't think you'd have that passcode like unerased. On the first run. I kind of assume there is no human pilot there and it's just a pre-recorded thing. And then to open this door, We press this and we get a second look at that. The only difference is this door would have been closed. Yeah, and D just doesn't open again. You got a lot of glass breaking sound effects when you walk through glass. Did I possibly miss something on the computer over here? Yeah, I'm playing very thoroughly. Pigeon test. Helicopter arrival. Wake up call.
Hey, Morgan. Wake up. You're burning daylight. Send the helicopter to pick you up. It's just a few tests. Don't forget to wear your suit. See you soon. Oh, listen, really great you decided to come on board. We're gonna shake things up, Morgan. Like old times.
Read daily tests if you've been on branches of the main product line. You know sometimes we need to put extra effort to hit our milestones, and any external risks are fully taken into account when these decisions are made. The move to extend indefinitely was a direct request from both Alex and Morgan. Sylvian Bellamy. At this point, Morgan's exhaustion is inhibiting our ability to getting useful results. That's to say nothing about the long-term damage we're likely inflicting from the constant neuromod installations and removal. Tell me again why we've extended the test indefinitely. Yeah, I question whether I'm even going to be able to find everything in this area. I guess the story to take from this probably is that, let's see, can I bring up any other inventory menu? Well, there's a back button here that I've never used, which wrench, typhoon organ, bunch of collectibles, spare parts. No chipsets available, no scope chipsets available. We don't know what those are. 0876, let's try that. If this guy's an idiot, he probably does use the same code for both. I think the last two numbers are 4163. That might be it. It's worth a try. I can see a 6. I can see a 3. I can see a 1. 9163. Possibly. don't think it's 01. It's 4 digits. Could it be 163 and something else? No. Maybe 71 or 8163. We could just go through all the numbers. 163, I guess. 7163. 8163. 9163. 1163. 2163. 3163. If I go through all these and none of them are right, I think we already tried 4163. Then I'm wrong about the other digits. Yeah. Hacking would be required otherwise. So it's possible that it's 1463. I guess that is a slight possibility. But it's real hard to tell. And it's probably just not worth it. This is an interesting looking computer. We've already gone an hour and 20 minutes. Inevitably, with the mimics, you're potentially creating a situation where the game is always going to kind of ask you to take it slow and not run around areas, almost in the exact opposite way that you would play something like Bioshock 1, where once you kind of get a feel of the areas, you would start to move fairly quickly and jump around and do more running and gunning. Here, it seems like your wrench may be your default weapon for a rather long amount of time, and thus you're going to try and take things slow, particularly also because people are going to be jumping out at you, or monsters are going to be jumping out at you. This is probably the exact same sign. Although, in all fairness, let's hit this sign just to make sure it's not digital and fake too. And there clearly are screens to see. Now, I don't know why so many of these screens are broken when I just hit like one of them. I feel like there's no real love lost between Morgan and these mimics. That being said, apparently we just got a status. But this status, I guess, went away, so maybe I was bleeding for a moment there. Very video gamey, just to try and collect everything. Press OK button to reset simulation. Loads scene. So we could go echelon roof, which would just put up a whole fake wall. And change the appearance of a lot of stuff. Although you can see I broke the window over there. And then the TranStar roof seems to be broken. Yeah, no, it did reset. So you can almost excuse any poorly animated models as being props. Let's see. Looking glass. Power on or off. Interesting. They're calling it looking glass. Like a reference to Alice in Wonderland or Alice Through the Looking Glass. Here's Greet Mexico. Did we see this guy? Or is this the first time we've seen him? At the moment, the mimics are jumping out when you get anywhere close to them, so the potential idea that they would start to stay still as you get close to them and wait until you're right on top of them for them to attack is yet to happen. So we've seen 2 dead people, and that seems to be about it. I think the game is probably more than happy to have me finally leave this facility through a decontamination, which I guess if I'm the alien and decontamination works, it would stop me. If I'm just a human who's testing neuromods like crazy and then getting brainwashed and having my memory erased, then that's a different conspiracy. So these guys can absorb DNA or something very quickly.
No one has been able to stop the mimics from multiplying since they broke containment. I'm going to help you stay alive. Just a little further.
I might as well take everything. So 1 mimic, I would say probably 8 this guy, and gained enough DNA that it turned into 4 mimics. Now I'd assume mimicry is probably a little bit more simple than it seems, in that they probably can only look like things that are in the same room. So I doubt there would just be a table or a bench where there were no other tables and benches in that room. Compared to, say, totally new and unique items. Although maybe they can just mimic anything and everything. We have a bunch of... Are these supposed to be like punch-in cards? If they're to the right, they're in the facility. If they're to the left, they're outside of the facility. And it doesn't seem like the mimics have the capability. Let's see what happens if we just beat on a box a lot. We run out of energy. Yeah, I suspect the mimics don't have the capability of mimicking a human. Next week's test, area of room A, area of effect, room B, copycat, room C, spooky action. We'll need the room updated for the new test plan. Configurations are as follows. Simmons, let us know if anything changes. In the same email. I think Bellamy has taken data related to mimicry and remote manipulation out of the research department, get at the trauma center, and grab the key card to his cabin off his body. I'm sorry to be morbid, but Alex will lose his poop if someone else finds out. Marco Simmons. So, let's see. As far as emails, like, we can go back to all of these Search for Bellamy's corpse in the trauma center. Let's set that as our optional active mission. So we now do have a side mission. Seems like the mimics also can move around fairly well. Like, I would have thought after seeing this guy killed, they would have all jumped up there, and maybe that's too much of a confusing message to send, and that they really should just focus on showing the duplication ones. This isn't Bellamy. Just wanted to double check to make sure that wasn't Bellamy. Well, the trauma center is 72 meters. Play your way. Experts with different approaches to overcome. Experiment with different approaches to overcome challenges and enemies. You can get past the locked door by searching for the key card, finding alternate paths. As you learn new abilities, more options will become available to you. So here's Bellamy's office. Crushed pieces of paper. We can harvest plants, apparently. We now have the key card. This is the 23rd of February, not the 15th. I think there is a mimic somewhere in this room, but honestly I couldn't tell you where. There it is. Yep. Seems like they definitely increased the amount of and see if you see it even turn into something. I don't know if it really matters too much. Like, these guys aren't really hurting me per se. This is probably an Easter egg item around Arcane and the Insider. What is it? It's not called the Insider, it's called Dishonored. And there is a... yeah. Yeah, these guys don't really feel like they're causing much trouble. But yeah, I think this is probably a reference to Dishonored, but this may just be a direct reference to the neuromods, which we still haven't seen. I would have thought they would have been quicker about that. So we saw the mimic turn into a plant on the floor, and here's a plant. So it does seem like it has to be somewhat in the same room. And we're getting like this icon popping up on the left and right. So maybe there is a neuromod behind that wall. Let's see. I'll send you the white paper on Alex and Morgan wrote. Here's the nutshell version of it. Gather a new skill from a neuromod works similar to the way your brain creates new memories. In fact, it's impossible for now to separate the changes the mod makes from a normal memory formation. So if you want to strip the neuromod that makes you play piano from Gustav Leitner, it'll reset your brain back to the moment before you first installed it. They wanted Morgan's mind pristine to receive the prototype neurons. That means going way the hell back, hence the apartment sim. Use are dedicated to their science, is all I can say. Hit me up for lunch later. So they're saying what happened in the apartment is way, way in the past. Yep. At a certain level, this is an interesting twist or mystery. Am I drinking or... Seems like I'm drinking and that's giving me 1 stamina. And it's seeming like it takes an incredible amount of time. I assume that's stamina that I'm collecting here. But I'm at like 69. Maybe giving me like 1 health. So in a funny way, it definitely does seem to me like even taking damage is very un-video game like, in the sense that you... We've got something way bigger.
That was a phantom. Typhon Anthrophantasmus. Keep moving.
Let's go ahead and eat this apple, and that gave me more health. Let's see. I guess pause now if you want to read that. So, skill recorder analysis. Let's see what would have happened if we had gone this way instead. We would have gone through here, found some more things to take. But I can't help but wonder if we would have run into potentially a mimic in here at some point in the future. Probably not in this first time. Then you come downward. Two strong swings seems to kill a regular mimic. Let's see, repair, control panel, tutorial. Yeah, let's try. So, I need a neuromod to repair this. I don't seem like I have any neuromods installed. Seems like we've got a lot more to go through. And we have very different looking elevators now. Okay. So let's see. Observation testing room neuromod debriefing was the first floor. So that was the apartment. Simulation stage B in particular. And then the second floor is perhaps half of where we've been so far. And it's funny, they're treating them like different floors when they're horizontally in different places too. And so it looks like we're probably somewhere close to being slightly past research and design, where the purple dot is on the second floor, which means there's a whole third floor, which to me means this is probably a good place to just end this episode. Obviously there's some mystery here, to say the least. There's quite a bit of collectible stuff, which I don't know if I really need to eat or collect anything otherwise at the moment. At some point we're going to get suit chips, at some point we're going to get scope chips. The whole system obviously is going to be built around the idea of figuring out our objectives and figuring out what's going on. There's going to be a ton of notes, a ton of emails, probably not as many audio logs, key codes, key cards, and research at some point in the future. Let's see, I guess we should make a standard save. It's interesting that you both have quick save and quick load and standard save and standard load, because particularly with the controller, it's probably not going to be any faster to quick save or quick load than it would be to just load. Alright, so far so interesting. I guess it is also worth mentioning that the game Prey is reusing a name from Arcane Studios. There was another game where you played as a Native American player who was abducted by aliens called Prey. It's somewhat of a niche favorite, but it was not successful financially, and there really was just no chance that they were ever going to be able to make a new game or even a remake of Prey and call it Prey. So they just had the copyright for the name Prey and did it. Anyways, I think inherently this Prey could be considered kind of a like spiritual remake of the original Prey, or at least at the beginning that was probably what they were thinking, but they probably didn't want to have a Native American First Nations type character as the main character. Unfortunately, there's way more stereotypes than there are truth as far as the depictions of Native Americans, First Nations people, and they really don't have a monoculture in the first place because there was just many different types of tribes, Apache, Cherokee, and such. So it's very difficult, if not nearly impossible, to depict a Native American and not have somebody upset about the way the character is depicted. And certainly it is a case that a lot of Native American reserves and tribes don't have computers or even electricity, so it's not like Native Americans were making the first Prey either, so that they're not really telling a story that they know or telling their own story. Although even in this Prey, I don't know if the writer of this Prey was a Asian guy or Asian girl. But yeah, the whole character selection screen we can see now that we've been playing for an hour and 40 minutes did not matter at all. We will almost certainly never see our character except for when we're looking in a mirror installing a neuromod, I imagine. I'm very confused that I haven't seen a neuromod so far, and it is a little weird that there is obviously some things here that would unlock on a new game plus, and we're just having to miss it. I don't know if that gimmick even in 2017 is really that appealing, to have locked safes and only allow players who play it a second time to unlock the safe. As far as I know, in that safe is like very late game level weapons or armor or neuromods or something that would make the game incredibly easy to play. Although, in fairness, I did fairly recently play Resident Evil 4, and the fact when you play a new game plus on Resident Evil 4 and you have all your weapons is actually very appealing, so I guess it probably does work as a concept. Anyways, that's going to be it for this recording. As always, I ask you to like, share, subscribe, comment, and watch every second of my videos because that helps me with YouTube. If you want to friend or follow me on any social media sites, there's a bunch of links down below. There's also a link to Patreon, or a way in which you can friend me on Steam and gift me a game off my wish list if you want to support me even further. Thank you for watching. Have a good evening.